Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. This is just kind of a, another recent finds, what I've been spending, that type of thing. Not a ton of stuff to show, but a couple of cool things I wanted to share. And actually, I don't even necessarily have everything out here that I've been spending lately. And maybe I'll kind of share that up front too. That's something that's somewhat interesting that's happened for me personally. I'm always, looking online for stuff and checking out stuff on eBay or Amazon, going to the local record store, all that good stuff. I'm not really in the mode of things that I have to have or, really craving right now. I'm just kind of, for the last few months, it's been very opportunistic, just kind of what pops up and what's there. But what I kind of noticed over the past week or two, maybe even longer than that, is that going out and digging through the record stores and stuff like that haven't been as enjoyable, or I shouldn't say enjoyable, because it makes me like I don't. The level of excitement that I used to get from it is not on the same level now. And so I still enjoy it and it's still great and everything, but I just kind of noticed there used to be a time where it was the most exciting thing I could possibly do, and now it's just kind of one more fun thing to do. And so I kind of started thinking about that, and a few nights ago I was, I got into my DJ mode where I was starting to play a bunch of stuff and just listening to stuff in the music room, and I dove back into my 80s collection, and it was really weird because I just felt like these energy knobs turned back up, or this excitement started to kind of bubble a little bit. And really what it kind of came down to keep a long story short, it just really became clear to me that I've kind of lost focus in the core of the things within music that make me the most happy and give me the most energy and excitement. I mean, I'm a child of the 80s, and so, when I grew up, it was right when the whole 80s new wave thing was coming in, and that's just the stuff that, completely consumed my childhood. And now, as I've started to expand into different things, whether it's, trying to discover new metal, especially on the jazz side, that's where a lot of my experimenting and focus has been going in terms of discovering new music. And I like that stuff, and I've been picking up a lot of new jazz stuff that I like, and I've been listening to a lot more jazz, and I've been getting more Latin music and all these other things. But the one thing I've kind of left to the wayside is I haven't went back and really dove into that true core of that music that really, really stirs me, and that's 80s pop and 80s new wave. I mean, and also kind of 80s R&B, 80s hip hop for that matter. Just that time period is really core to who I am musically. And so that's why I say I'm not going to show you everything I've been spinning, is because I have to almost show you my entire 80s collection to some degree if I did that. But just diving back into that stuff just really kind of rejuvenated me, and I was spinning stuff and dancing around my music. I mean, just having a ball all by myself. So I don't know. Again, just kind of an interesting thing. I don't know if any of you have experienced that. I just kind of made it very clear to myself that I know it's great to go experiment and find new stuff and discover new artists and dive deeper into genres that you've just started to tap, but don't necessarily, make sure you don't sacrifice your core and the thing that really keeps your fire burning for your love and passion of music. And I mean, I started pulling out some stuff, and I'll share a couple of those with you too that just had me so pumped up, and I'm just like, what am I thinking? And I think what it is too is that when you start getting all these different stacks and everything, you have the music. I'm one that's very adamant about keeping my music very accessible. I don't put things in closets or hide things behind stuff. Every piece is out in the clear. But you walk by it every day, and all of a sudden your 80s section almost becomes like a picture on the wall. You used to seeing it, what the colors are in terms of specific spines, you can tell what album it is. But sometimes you kind of forget, wait a minute, that is an album that has this song on there. And I think that's what I kind of did. But anyway, just thought I would share that. It's just a very interesting kind of thing I noticed and experienced about myself, and like I said, I've been spinning the heck out of 80s stuff lately and just have really been getting back in and enjoying my collection. But anyway, let me kind of get into, again, some new stuff and stuff I've been spinning. I'm going to start off here with a funny one, because I saw this in a dollar bin the other day and had to pick it up. I'm going to follow this in my comedy section. But the first thing I noticed was when I picked up the cover, you know, used to seeing models, if you will, you know, skinny little anorexic things look like they need to supersize every meal they have for the rest of their lives. And so I saw this and then saw like the, you know, the belly on the girl there, and my first, like, you know, 0.02 of a second thought was, oh, cool, you know, someone that got caught up in all of the hoopla of every woman on the cover has to be all skinny and blah blah blah. And then I got in and looked at the title, the exercise record for pregnant women. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta have this. It was in the dollar bin, so I picked it up. 2 LP set, and I did listen to it. First of all, great songs on this. I mean, some of my favorite stuff, like, you know, Biggest Part of Me by Ambrosia, 3 Times a Lady by, you know, Lionel Richie the Commodore, 100 Ways, you know, all this stuff that's like, you know, make woman feel good, make woman feel wanted type of songs and everything. You know, Heaven's Gift, Just the Way You Are by Billy Joel, all that kind of stuff. And so over top of the track, the lady is, you know, telling about these, I've listened to both records, telling them, like, you know, stretches to do and all this and talking there. You know, kind of like a low-key jazzercise record with all of this you're the best person in the world type music behind it. So it's really, really funny stuff. I'm so glad I picked up this record. There was also, oh, here it is. I already took it out. This nice little booklet, your guide to the exercise for pregnant women. What every pregnant woman and her coach should know about health and exercise. And it's kind of a long book. I mean, it goes through and has all this different, like, you know, nutritional, what you should be doing, what to do with labor back pains, and then diagrams for all the different exercises. I mean, I don't know, it just kind of goes on and on, but some things you just have to have, and when I saw that, I just could not pass it up. That was the only thing I bought that day, too. I didn't find anything else. When I walked up to the counter, I'm like, I'll take this. The guy looked at it, he's like, I was like, yeah. But, so anyway, that's one recent find. Here's another one, too, for you, Lucinda Williams fans, if you wasn't quite aware. This is the 25th anniversary reissue of her 1998 self-titled album. It's hard to believe it's been 25 years. But, again, self-titled, her earlier stuff, which was a little more country-ish than I think she is now, although West is still probably my favorite album by her. But yeah, really good reissue, great album. Side 1 is blah blah blah, but on side 2 you have stuff like Passionate Kisses, and then Side of the Road, some of her great stuff there. So that was a nice pickup on the reissue. Comes with a download, and it is on, which I kind of hate, but came on red vinyl. Again, you guys know how I am about the colored vinyl. Let's see, I'll set these over here. Another nice pickup, my man, R.L. Burnside, one of the blues artists I've really caught on to in the past year and a half or so. Got a majority, almost all of his stuff, so which is kind of cool, but I've only listened to one side of this so far because I just opened it last night, but definitely sounds kind of different. I mean, it's bluesy again, but it's a little more, for lack of better terms, as far as on a blues level, it's a little more techno dancey on a blues side. I mean, I can put this on and get, like, you know, type of dub stuff on and everything, but just from a blues music with a little flavor of kind of techno dance element added to it. But you know, RL knows his stuff. Great artist. One of my favorite, more recently discovered blues artists. I think I have like maybe 6 or 7 of his pieces now. And of course, I pulled out the insert. I I wasn't quite ready for that. I don't know if it's showing up on camera or not, but he's kind of taking a piss right there. It's just like you pull up an insert and you have to do like a double take. Did I just see what I just saw, or is that my eyes playing? It's like, no, he's taking a piss on the side of the road. But anyway, RL, great stuff. Set this over here. And kind of keep moving along. One Night in Bangkok by Murray Head. Had to get that a spin last night. And this is kind of going into some of the stuff that, again, I just kind of was really spinning and jamming to the last couple of days. Again, a majority of it I already put back on the shelf because it was way too much. I guess I do have some new CDs here, too. Let me make sure I share those. Joe Henderson, In and Out, 1964, I believe. Blue Note release. Joe Henderson's one of those jazz artists I'm just starting to discover. So far, I think this may be his best piece that I've heard. Really, really great stuff there. Good traditional jazz that has an element here or there of kind of going towards a free jazz range, but much, much more traditional jazz here. Really good stuff. I wouldn't mind getting it on vinyl too, but I just happen to find the CD first at a good price. Great $1.50 pickup. Buddy Guy, one of the blues greats, Sweet Tea. This is an awesome record, or album too. I don't like calling CDs records, even though we know what we mean, but awesome CD because this is one you listen to, and it's just kind of an affirmation that all things rock and roll and heavy metal came from blues. Because this, for lack of better terms, there's some songs on here that are very heavy, without question, but it's just Buddy Guy doing his blues thing. And that's one thing I really love in music too, and I love albums like this. Anytime there's a song or a piece of music that is of one genre where you can clearly hear the influences of other genres that are out there, that's one thing in music that I really, really love, that really gets me excited and I really appreciate. Because of course, with as many different styles of music, kind of open as my taste is, I am a firm belief that most music always comes back to just a couple of different points. It's just something that kind of, like the water hose. It all starts right at the nozzle, but it goes a million different directions. But I like making those connections and hearing and seeing those connections. So when I see a blues player like Buddy Guy start playing a song and playing these riffs, and you're thinking, man, Slayer could easily take that and just go to the next level with it, and everyone would just think it was always metal. It was like, no, it was blues first, that type of thing. Anyway, maybe too much detail, but that's how my mind works a little bit. Another great pickup for $1.50, Motley Crue. 2 CD set, Red, White, and Crew. Basically, just kind of like an extended greatest hits. All the stuff with Vince Neil and then stuff after Neil. So basically, all the greatest hits up to Saints of Los Angeles. But a really cool 2 CD set. Again, only get that for $1.50. Was a great pickup. Now, other things I've been listening to. I showed you Murray Head, One Night in Bangkok. Every time I hear that, it always makes me think about Mike Tyson singing that in The Hangover 2. Which, quite frankly, if they would put that on a CD single of Mike Tyson doing that in Bangkok 2, I would literally buy that. Because every time I hear that song, it makes me think of him and it cracks me up. Moving right along. Isaac Hayes. This is Don't Let Go, which actually is self-titled my favorite song by Isaac Hayes, which is Don't Let Go. Love it, love it, love it. Every time I hear that song, it makes me think about the episode of The Jeffersons where George Jefferson and Tom were stripping, trying to make their wives jealous, even though their wives weren't there. And that was the song they were stripping to, so it's hard for me to get a smile on my face whenever I hear that. Now, diving into some of the old school stuff I was telling you about. Well, actually, hold on. Let me do something else first. Let me pull up some of the non-old school stuff. Although technically some of this can be considered old school. Let's start here. I did give Pantera a spin. Great Southern Treadkill. Nice 2 LP set. Everyone knows about the heaviness of Pantera. Don't have to say anything about that record. Also, had to pull out this Riot record, Thundersteel. This album gets better every time I hear it. Such an underrated, I don't want to say hair metal, but somewhere between hair and thrash metal album. Really, really great stuff. Now, going back to my old school stuff, you hear this playing in the background. I played it all the way through last night, front to back, both sides. I'm listening to it again today. Prince and Purple Rain. Again, one of those albums, I've said this before in previous videos, that just kind of gets thrown in your collection. You hear about it, you know it was big, you know it was great, but until you go back and listen to it, it's just kind of like you go back and dig into it again like I did last night, and the genius just comes out in it over and over and over. I mean, the simplicity of certain songs. I mean, when you look at songs like the one that really got me last night when I was listening to Take Me With You, and I'm thinking, you know, Prince is an incredible guitar player. I mean, he may not show it off all the time, but when you actually see him let loose, the boy can play. Like, if you ever seen him do that jam they did for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I think it was, where they did While My Guitar Gently Weeps, where I think it was him and Clapton and a few others, and there was a section in that where Prince did a solo, and I mean, I guess he knew who he was on stage with, and he just completely and totally kind of, for lack of a better term, showed his ass. I mean, and you just, sometimes you forget that guy can freaking play. But anyway, I'm just kind of going on to say that because when I listen to songs like Take Me With You, and there's almost like no guitar within that song. It's like everything about that song is not something that a great guitar player will do. And I think that's the thing that's made Prince such a genius over his career. Even the stuff I don't like, I tend to have a big level of respect for. It's just that he is about creating the music. Doesn't have to be through his guitar, doesn't have to be through his synthesizer. He will never lock himself into an instrument or a style or anything else. The dude just feels it, and when he feels it, he lays it down, plain and simple. And Purple Rain was a very, very good example of that. And again, just an album I think gets overlooked way too much for the genius that's in it. And hold on one second, guys. I don't like being without any music, so let me start that over. Okay. Moving along, I won't spend as much time on each one of these now going forward, but this is kind of the old school stuff I dove back into, a portion of it that I dove back into this past week that just really got me so pumped up about music in my collection. Old school hip-hop, Heavy D and the Boys. Great, great stuff. And of course, on this one here, it's the song More Bounce to the Ounce. Love it, love it, love it. And then even older, Heavy D and the Boys. This is like 1987, Living Large. The song Mr. Big Stuff, I think that's what was on here. I mean, again, just stuff I listen to that just puts a serious smile on my face. So it was great digging back into that. And again, I go back to the thing that I always say, one of the things that I love so much about that old school hip-hop as compared to the way crap is today, one thing you will almost never find today. I challenge you to go to your local record store, find more than 3 albums of modern day hip hop artists that have the artists on the covers smiling. Oh my gosh. No guns pointed at you, no mean mugging, no, all that bullshit in my opinion, but just smiling and making music that they love for their fans. Plain and simple. Say, go into your local hip-hop store and find 3 modern-day hip-hop artists. You won't. And that's just not an artwork thing. To me, that's a big reflection of what's inside of the music and the attitude and what they're trying to share with the fans. It was about fun and partying back then. It's about who's the toughest now and who has the most money and who gets the most girls and all that bullshit. I digress. Let me move on. D-Nice, 12-inch single, one of my favorite jams from back in the day. Had a really good time spending that. I actually had to text my brother when I pulled that one out. I was like, do you remember this song? And he like texted me back some of the lyrics to it. I mean, that's again another classic. Nita, 99 Lux Balloons. You guys know that one too. Another great 80s classic. Takes me all the way back to what, 5th, 6th grade? One of my favorite 80s movies, The Heavenly Kid. Gold stamp promo copy here. And the song Heavenly Kid, Out on the Edge. Love it, love it, love it. And Heartless too, another great song. Just everything, all of it reminds me of the movie, so it's very fun stuff. One of my favorite groups from back from the 80s R&B, never really made it big, but they were in, had a lot of regular rotation on Video Soul, on BET back in the day, which is where I first discovered them. But the band's called Loose Ends. The song Slow Down was definitely one of their big hits. And on their other album, which I also have, there's a song called You Got Me Hanging on a String, which is another big hit for them. Queen album I hadn't spun in a while. Hot Space. You guys know all about that, Under Pressure and all that good stuff. This one cracked me up too. I really should have put this on and let you guys hear it. Matter of fact, I'll do it some other time. Juice. Orange Juice. I think Orange Juice Jones, is that actually the... Yeah, Orange Juice Jones. I thought I had it right. Was his stage name. I mean, the album cover should give you enough of an idea about what's going on here. Some guy that you think he's so much cooler than he is, but the only song I really like off this album is a song called The Rain, and it's just basically, again, an old 80s classic, but he's basically singing about how he saw his woman out with some other guy, walking around with him, and at the very end of the song, when she gets home, he like busts her, tell her, I saw you, and then starts talking about, how he's canceling all her credit cards and, took all the money out of her account and got rid of all her clothes that he bought, and something about, how it's his world, and, her without him is like he said something like the cornflakes without the milk or something. I mean, and he's speaking this at the end when he's actually talking to her. Cracks me up. But, again, I gave that a spin last night. As you can see, just like how excited I'm getting just by talking about the song. Again, that's why I need to dive back into this stuff. So funny. Another childhood classic there. Barkays, Soulfinger. Spinning this one last night. Got a boogie every time I hear that song. Cannot help it. Love that cover too. That so captures what the Barkays are doing on this album. And again, this goes back to Stax Records, I think 1965, somewhere around that, 67? Oh no, 1965 when this came out. So again, that's again why it was so cool meeting Porter a few months ago, because sitting down and talking to him, he was the one that did a lot of the writing on this, and he worked with the Barkays, and he's the one that did a lot of the additions and the putting together of the song Soulfinger. So every time I hear this too, it makes me think about a lot of the stories that he shared with me. And then years later, 15 plus years later, got the Barkays. I think it's Dangerous. I thought it was self-titled for a second. That's how we lived in the 80s. But of course, this had their big hit, which was a Freak Show on the Dance Floor. I was spinning this last night and totally thinking about you, LJ, and you know exactly what I mean. Now again, going back into that regenerating thing, Phil Collins, Face Value. Put this on the other night, and again, putting that needle down, hearing a few light crackles and pops. The record's in really good condition, but few light crackles and pops, and then hearing that eerie intro to In the Air of the Night. That was just one of those moments that just kind of, again, hit me of, God, this is what I need to be doing, Finding the newest Hank Mobley album is great, and I love Hank Mobley, but hearing Air of the Night kick in on the end of a record needle That's just that's what's meant to be for me. So little Phil Collins, that was an awesome spin. And I also threw on No Jacket Required. Same thing with Take Me Home. I mean, just a beautiful thing to hear on vinyl. Last two I'll share. General Public, All the Rage. Of course, this is part of one of the groups that formed when what's the group broke up? That sang the song I've Been Thinking About You. London Beat. When they broke up, this is one of the bands that formed from that. And of course, the song Tenderness. Great 80s track there. Again, always takes me back to Weird Science, which is one of my favorite 80s movies of all time. And last but not least, Tommy Tutone. You gotta get a little 8675309 Jenny. Another classic 80s track. I remember too, there was not a behind the music, but a story they were telling about this song one time, and I know someone had that number. A lot of people canceled that number because they were, getting so many calls after this song became big. People screwing around, let's dial 8675, and people's phones were getting blown up to no end. But there were a couple of people actually that kept the number and ended up auctioning the number off. And I think one sold for, it was a few $1,000s for someone to buy that number from them. But anyway, just more history on how music can affect the world. But anyway, so yeah, hold on, I'm sorry. Going back into my, flashing back, also did something else I hadn't done in a while, which was spun some cassettes. Yeah, they spin, so I can say that. And this is just what I listened to last night. Again, there's another good 50 plus albums and records that I'm not showing you that I just knew would be too much for what I've been spinning video. But Billy Idol Rebel Yell, definitely threw that on. Earlier this morning I was listening to Aha, of course Take On Me and all the other great tracks there. Last night, Over the Top. Yeah, I'm sure you guys remember that movie with Sylvester Stallone. And the song Meet Me Halfway by Kenny Loggins. I don't know. Cheesy song. Kenny Loggins makes it even cheesier. I love it. It's all that matters. So I spun that last night. Another good old school hip hop album, 3 Times Dope. Original Stylings. The song Funky Dividends. Great track. Cool mellow track. I do have to balance out some of the soft stuff, so I played a little Iron Maiden last night as well. A little Number of the Beast. Another classic you guys are probably very familiar with. Bullet Boys, had to hear a little Smooth Up In Ya. Another great 80s hair metal track. And listen to all this one. Was it last night or night before last? Last night, actually. I spun a lot of music last night. Danzig. This is Thrall Demon Sweat Live. So yeah, it's just a live performance. Good stuff though. It has Snakes of Christ as well as Mother on here. So a lot of other things too. So very cool track. That make an awesome vinyl too. I would love to see that pressed on a vinyl cover. So anyway, there you go, VC. Again, thanks for kind of just checking in. This actually might be the longest video I've ever made. But thanks for watching as always. Let me know, again, if there's any requests, things you might want to see, want me to talk about, whatever the case may be, and I'll see what I can do. Alright, so take care, guys. We'll talk to you later.